Hey everybody, welcome to the Sorting Hat Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Barryte, joined as always by Katie Reed.
What's up, guys?
And this time we are also actually joined by our very first guest, Ryan Finnerty. For those unfamiliar, he is a writer of comedy and horror and head writer for Smosh. Are there any other accolades that I'm leaving out?
I will also add that this gentleman thought he was coming onto a game show.
I thought there'd be buzzers. And like a point system, and this sucks.
Well, just to give you a general synopsis of how the show sort of operates, unlike the Sorting Hat and the Harry Potter world, where people are sorted in, or fictional people are sorted into the fictional schools of Hogwarts, we're sorting not people into the fictional schools of Hogwarts.
Yes, we believe that anything and everything can and should be sorted.
So we're going to be sorting Sesame Street characters.
Oh, but before we get into that...
Oh, yes.
We gotta really... First of all, you gotta know who we've been sorted into. If you've listened to us before, you know that Michael is a Ravenclaw.
Yes.
I am, of course, representing Hufflepuff. But there was a real upset within our friend circle when we made Mr. Ryan Finnerty take the Sorting Hat quiz at the Pottermore website. Please tell them your results.
I didn't want to be this, but I ended up Slytherin.
We all thought he was going to be a Gryffindor, you guys.
We were very certain based off of, like, I've known you for 8 years now?
Yeah, almost 9 years.
Yeah, and, like, very, very, like, fight for the little man sort of individual, which, as far as attributes of Gryffindors go, kind of fits the bill.
Kind of.
But Slytherin and Gryffindors do have a lot of crossover.
Yeah.
That, and during the test, like, you guys have probably all taken the test. I've not done it. And I was in the middle of, like, watching a rehearsal somewhere, so it was super awkward. And you guys were texting me, like, you gotta take the Pottermore quiz. And it was pretty serious, and I had to watch this rehearsal and, like, give notes and shit. And so it was like I was, like, secretly on my phone being like, do I like wind? Or, like, all that other stuff. And it was...
What did you answer? Do you like wind?
I don't remember. Like, I was like, at first I was trying to game it. And I was like, all right, cool, I'm going to do all the good stuff. And I was like, because I wanted to be a good person.
Okay, I'm going to game the Pottermore quiz. Never mind, you are a Slytherin.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're right. I think that alone probably tells you a lot about it. And then I realized after 2 in, there's no way to game it. I just had to, like, be real. And then I just was like, oh, cool, I want to do these things and these things and these things. And then when it's down to left and right, you don't know.
Yeah.
You're nervous. And then at the end, it just hit me. And it was really dark. But when I was looking up, because for you guys don't know, I was trying... They don't really do research on the podcast, so I was trying to see what Sirius Black was. Because my last hope as I got up today taking a shower, thinking about this, was like, oh, if Sirius Black is like, if he's Slytherin... Yeah. Then maybe there's some redeeming qualities for me as a person.
Yeah.
And he's not.
Yeah,
I believe he's Gryffindor because I didn't even have to look it up after 2 seconds. One, I don't know how to spell Sirius Black. Mm-hmm. That was awful, so it took a long time. And then I'm pretty sure he and James hung out because they were Gryffindors.
To tell you how little research I do personally, I have is Sirius Black, like, is he a Death Eater?
Okay, so Sirius Black is Gary Oldman in the movies, right? You've not seen the movies, correct?
I've seen, like, the first and the last one.
And so he's not neither of those. Spoiler, he's dead by the last one and a ghost. Right. And then he's in the beginning, he's just not there. Oh, the first one. Anyway, I was rewatched that on ABC Family the other day.
Where are you the only place you can seem to watch it now?
And it's so just cheesy. But anyway, so I think he gets taken to Azkaban because he's seen as a bad guy. And he's supposedly, who did he kill? Because he's, like, seen as this really big bad guy, and that's this big spoiler. It's a big twist that, like, oh, he's not, and he was really down. I think he was a Death Eater, but we can look that up later. But I was hoping, but
I mean, truth be told, that stuff doesn't matter.
Yeah,
you understand the basic
let's sort some shit.
Ideas of, like,
some shit.
I mean, just to give you, the viewers, really general angle. Gryffindors tend to be bold, but the downside to their boldness is that they oftentimes are brash.
They got
nature.
the hubris.
Yes.
The hubris.
They're proud. Ravenclaws are inquisitive and creative, but they also have a competitive side to them, which could, again, this is kind of leaning in towards the hubris thing.
They nerds.
They're really angry
Hufflepuffs are very loyal, family-oriented, and nature-oriented.
They like leaves.
Yeah, they dorks.
They dorks. They
and then Slytherins are very...
Ooh.
Oh, cool. ridicule it. Slytherin's like, every time I'm like, Katie, don't be anti-Slytherin. And she's like,
Wait,
yeah,
I'm
I
Slytherin.
totally will. And then it always happens.
But you're a Hufflepuff. You have to be because you have nothing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, name one Hufflepuff.
Dude.
Like some lame teacher. Like a
C-
pillow.
Cedric, the entertainer.
Yeah, it's true. He is.
All right.
Him and Steve Harvey and Bernie Mac
Your
are all
villains guys
Hufflepuffs.
are Hufflepuffs. They're
Yeah.
too funny.
Guys, we got to get into the actual
Oh, let's sort
sorting.
some shit.
But like,
Let's
I
sort
mean,
some shit.
as far as like real world Slytherins would go, like Steve Jobs or Thomas Edison would be Slytherins.
Maybe. But
No.
that's you saying that.
As-
and you're a Ravenclaw, so you're just
That's
trying
the
to...
whole point of this podcast, guys.
Wait a minute, they're both dead. So that's kind of messed up. Right? Like, it was not like, we don't know if Barack Obama is Slytherin.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
We're not sorting real people. We're not sorting real people.
Who are alive right
Oh,
now.
that's a rule?
Well, I mean,
Oh,
not
because of
really.
lawsuits. Got
Yes.
it. All right, fair enough.
We're not trying to get on a government watch list because we sorted Barack Obama the
That's
wrong
true.
way in a
That's
way
a good
that's
point.
like suspect.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
anyway, we are,
she made air quotes.
we're jumping in. We're
All right, let's do
dealing
it.
with Sesame Street Muppets.
Okay, cool.
Now,
Go.
Now, it is worth noting that Ryan has probably seen Sesame Street the most recently, as
I have.
he is.
I'm a father. Yeah, I have
father
a
of
1-year-old kid, and
Yeah.
so you got to watch a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. So you are, in fact, a little more familiar with some of the newer Muppets on the show.
Sure.
I did do a little bit of research.
Okay.
Just to familiarize myself with some of the newer Muppets in case you happen to mention them.
Fair enough.
What is this, like Degrassi, the new generation? I didn't know there were new Muppets.
There's new Muppets. There's an autistic Muppet. There's a mental. Yeah, they brought in like.
Wait, which one's autistic?
You have to look it up, but there was a kid with sort of like some challenges. That's really interesting. And then there's the serial killer Muppet. I mean, one of those is true.
I was just, when I was looking, I was like, who's Abby Cadabby?
Okay.
She apparently is a 3-year-old fairy.
They do a
Oh,
lot
I
of
know.
her.
I seen Abby Cadabby.
They do a lot of her. She and Elmo kind of have taken over what they do.
Right.
Yeah.
So, on that tip,
Yeah.
transitionally,
Yeah,
you provided me what we need, Elmo.
Okay. Who should I start?
Absolutely.
Slytherin.
Slither,
Oh, yeah.
really?
Like, here's the deal with Elmo. Like, obviously, he who cannot be named and Elmo are about the same. Think about it.
I was actually not 100% sure, but when you say Slytherin, there is a part of me that is willing to completely accept it based on Elmo's world.
Yeah.
Because for a while, Elmo really was running the show. If you're unfamiliar, Elmo's World was a segment in, I want to say...
La 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 la.
it's
Elmo's World.
Right.
No, of course I know about Elmo's World.
I was doing this for the viewers.
Oh, I see.
No one's
in
watching
the
this, right?
late 90s, or listeners, sorry.
Ah.
In the late 90s, early 2000s, I believe, they introduced a show, or like the latter 15 minutes of the show was devoted to Elmo in like a crayon explosion world.
But it still is.
Now,
Oh, it is?
Even the HBO show leans heavily into the thing about the HBO show, like the old Sesame Street, and I apologize for interrupting you, but old Sesame Street was kind of random. Like, it was like a bunch of hippies that smoked
Right.
dope, and like, we'll put sections where we have. They shot the sections, but they put them like editorially, they put them in different sections. Now it's the same thing every time because kids love that. The
Right.
repetition they love.
Yeah.
And Elmo, he is a third, if not more, of every single episode.
It's also where, for those of you interested in more just Sesame Street stuff, I'd highly encourage you to check out the Nerdist Writers panel with Ben Blacker. He has a whole session with the Sesame Street writers, and it allows like a really interesting breakdown of like how structurally they've shifted the show and things like that. That's neither here nor there, though, just a suggestion for you listeners.
So
Elmo
Kate-
is absolutely not a Slytherin. He's a
Because-
Gryffindor, and here's why. If you are going to map Elmo and Harry Potter, you're going to find that they are walking in the same footsteps, my friends. They come in a lot later in the game than some of the older Muppets have. They suddenly come on the scene and are wildly popular in weird Mary Sue ways that you cannot quite distinguish.
Well,
are ultra famous and beloved for anyone who tried to get a Tickle Me Elmo in 1996. And honestly, they're a little bit too big for their britches. If I'm speaking honestly, Elmo gets like a big head sometimes.
Well, I think some of that stems from Elmo was the most inquisitive of the Muppets, and it allowed for him to be mapped onto a lot of situations. While like he himself would not be, oh, he's scared or whatever. He was just sort of like, I'm curious about this. What's going on with this? Why is this? Which Big Bird had for a while, but I think Big Bird also has a bit of a more timid nature to him. I think
Big Bird's more of a depressive.
Yeah.
That's the one thing to think about. Big Bird is like, he'll get bummed out. Like, his best friend is like this manic depressive, like brown, like he's an extinct creature. Like Snuffleupagus is a mammoth, and he has no other mammoths to hang out
And
with.
he's imaginary.
No. They've actually outed him. Because,
What?
Yeah, no, that was like a big deal on the show because they didn't want kids to
Feel crazy.
to feel crazy.
And so Big Bird, I get it, but Elmo, I will counter I get what you're trying to say, and it fits in the Harry Potter thing, but Elmo is much more selfish than Harry. He doesn't make a point to ever really.
Well, I think he's selfish in the sense of what he's been provided on the show, and I don't necessarily know if that's.
But that doesn't factor in. We got to take the character as himself, right? It's like Voldemort. You could go environmentally. Tom Riddle grew up in a situation where he absolutely like. He's a product of his environment. Harry Potter's a product of his environment. Harry got lucky because Voldemort went through it all before. Because Harry's gonna be Voldemort if he came first.
Right.
That's just the truth of the whole situation. Big Bird came first, right? But and then
Are you likening Big Bird to Voldemort in this situation?
I'm actually likening them both to Voldemort.
Okay.
There is no Harry Potter because none of them would save anybody. And also, the amount of times they talk about Voldemort, Elmo talks about himself.
Right.
This is what I'm saying. And also, it's a situation where, like, it's insidious. Like, Elmo, of course, started off as a monster in the 70s. His parents were, like, these side monsters no one cared about. He was, like, an orphan because his parents got on drugs. Then he came back up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
That's just me.
No,
I'm just saying
and-
how Slytherin is happy to take Elmo.
And that's
as
fair.
one of our own.
We've now heard two arguments.
What do you say?
I'm truthfully torn. I do think that he's a little more fighting for the everyman, so that makes me lean a little bit towards Gryffindor.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes down to it, he's gonna go with whatever's good for everybody.
But it is worth noting that Slytherins are known to fight specifically for Slytherins. So if we decide that in Elmo's viewpoint, children are his like brothers and sisters, then he would be fighting for them. So as a Slytherin,
but he's not. You guys haven't watched them all. He's not really about. He's like a little kid. Elmo's
Right.
POV is a little kid. So a lot of times he gets mad, he gets in arguments. He's supposed to be, if I'm a kid watching the show, he's
Right.
like, oh, I identify, and that's why he's in everything. Because all the other, it was weird when Big Bird was a little kid. If a giant-ass bird and your little kid is having, I'm sad today, you're like, that's just not pretty.
Right.
But if Elmo is this cute little red thing, he's
Right.
sad. So I just don't think he's about other people. That's just me, though.
that's valid.
So by that argument, though, are you stating that every child under 5 is by default a Slytherin?
I'm happy to say that, yeah. I have a son. He seems Slytherin as hell to me. He gets up, he poops his pants like he's mad at stuff. If he was given the chance to save a bunch of other people or eat some food, he'd eat the food.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
I'm just
I'm-
telling you what I think.
I'm thinking now, just looking at it
Yeah.
from a like Rolodexing through Muppets in my head, I do feel that a lot of them are either going to be categorized as Slytherins or Gryffindors. So I now pose this question to you.
Yeah.
Which of the Sesame Street Muppets would you identify as either a Hufflepuff or Ravenclaw? I have one that I think is a Hufflepuff.
And I think I have a Ravenclaw.
Okay.
Real quick, what are the attributes? Because no one knows this. What are the attributes of her? I mean, you made some shit up, but the Ravenclaw stuff, you made some stuff that fits you. But what's
No. This is according to J.K. Rowling.
Okay.
Like I'm not just pulling this out of my ass.
Sure,
I
yeah.
promise you. They're more inquisitive. They're more scientific. They're more studious. They're like Neil deGrasse Tyson or Spock would fall into.
And I feel like the Sorting Hat in the first movie, he did like a really cool rap about what each house was about when he was like, Harry, you could fall into any of these.
Sure.
Like, he was like, you would always run away from your fart. Like a Ravenclaw, you are very smart. Like that sort of thing.
I think that's probably not
Maybe not.
that exact
Maybe
wording.
not that. Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm just going to say the Sorting Hat probably didn't say fart.
We're deviating a little.
Sorry.
But,
All right, cool.
But based on like kind of what you know.
Okay, so who do you think's a Ravenclaw?
I believe there is a Ravenclaw Hufflepuff pairing.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, and it's Bert and Ernie.
Oh, I see.
But I'm now trying to think like beyond the more
Who's that eagle
humanoid
guy?
character.
The eagle guy who's always getting mad.
That's the Muppets.
That's a Muppet.
That's not Sesame Street.
I retract my statement.
We will save Sam the Eagle for our Muppets discussion.
So you think Sam the Eagle is a Hufflepuff?
No, Ravenclaw.
You think he's a Ravenclaw?
Yeah.
But that's just...
We're not
enough.
talking on this.
All right, cool. So I think Oscar the Grouch is a Hufflepuff.
I would agree.
He is the nicest Muppet by far.
Nicest Muppet.
100%.
Like he's got a cold exterior.
He has the sweetest heart, and he's the least selfish of any Muppet. Any Sesame Street Muppet.
And he is the most environmentally minded person on the show.
By far.
He loves trash.
Now
He
he
does.
lives in a compost.
He may, yeah.
Right?
You don't see a lot of him, which is a bummer. Like, it's a situation like that's whatever. But here's the thing. Oscar the Grouch, the most thoughtful. Every scenario he has, at first he's like, I don't want to do this. At the end, he always ends up in a place where he's helpful, always wants to help somebody, always worries about someone else, always is actually self-aware enough to be like, hey, I may have been a little mad earlier. I'm sorry I yelled at you. Let's move on.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely also like somebody could be making the argument for Slytherin, but I do feel that that's a far.
Yeah.
It's a too easy argument to make, and I agree that he does tend to bend a little bit.
He's socially awkward, and so he lashes out.
Yeah.
When he's in that interaction, he doesn't know what he's doing. He says something sassy and regrets it. But he has a good heart.
And he's always, and it even could come off as nerdy. Like, he always is the dude that's like, I said something nerdy, and everyone's like, whoa. Because now, if Oscar was a little Grouch in Hogwarts, correct? I could see him being in Hufflepuff, and how he ended up older Oscar the Grouch in the garbage can. He's like, look, I've lived in your stupid houses. I don't need them. I don't need those accoutrements. I've been kind of put upon for being this sweet, open-hearted kid. I loved plants, whatever it was. Slytherins, Gryffindors beat him down. Even some Ravenclaws, like the Neil deGrasse Tysons, kind of take him out in class. And then at the end, like by the time he's older, that sweet little heart had to be in a hardened exterior. And he was like, you know what? I'm just going to live in a trash can like a sage and do that.
I mean, that's my long-term plan.
I like that he's a sage in your eyes. I like
Oscar
that
the
a
Grouch.
lot.
Well, think about what kids. This is again. I apologize. I've seen a lot of them. He teaches a lot of stuff. Like Elmo at the end of that. If you're a little kid, you're like, it's not very clear what happened. Like Elmo was mad. Then maybe he got some milk. And you're like, what? If I'm mad, like what you learn as a kid, like if I'm mad, I get milk.
Right.
Oscar is like he's mad, says, hey, I'm probably wrong, and at the end apologizes. And if I'm a little kid, it's a good lesson.
Yeah, more complete character arc.
Indeed.
Are there any other Ravenclaws or Hufflepuffs you can think of? Because I do feel that's a harder angle to go. I think...
Would Mr. Hoover be one? Because, like, he just knows a lot of stuff.
Who's Mr. Hoover?
Wait, who's
Hooper?
Hooper.
Yeah, okay, because Mr. Hoover.
Mr. Hooper is not a Muppet.
Who's that guy who built the dam?
That's Mr. Hoover. They're brothers.
I did very little research, you guys.
But I like that you thought Sesame Street is the reason for that dam. That was all for the show. It's never been real. Can I ask,
Mr. Hooper, I'm so sorry.
where's Cookie Monster Land?
Cookie Monster, I think, is a Hufflepuff.
That's a definite Hufflepuff.
Oh, yeah,
He's
totally.
all about life.
Yeah, like he's about life. Hufflepuffs are also very big about food.
Yeah.
So, like...
Yeah.
He's almost a hobbit.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
really
hobbits fall under, like,
Yeah, it's
definitively, it's just, like, shelve them. They're all Hufflepuffs.
So that's amazing. You end up with, wow, you get Cookie Monster.
Dude, I got Cookie Monster. I got Oscar the Grouch. I'm getting all of the great characters.
Looking at a list, I'm realizing, like, I might be, as a Ravenclaw, I might be with Telly.
Oh, Telly.
Telly's the one who worries about everything.
Yeah, he would be.
Yeah,
he'd be
like,
perfect Ravenclaw.
it's like, Telly is very, there's, I believe it's like a New Year's special where Telly is afraid that the world, like, basically he's like the Y2K screamer. I'm like pretty damn sure that's like...
Ooh, you know who you got? You got one of the best ones. You got the Count.
Ooh.
I would definitely...
How is you're saying on the fact that he left science that the Count is a Ravenclaw?
The Count is a man of mathematics. If anybody is obsessed with mathematics
He's
on the
obsessive.
show,
Yeah.
he also
That's
comes
a
from
good
money.
point.
I don't know why I sort of like think of Ravenclaw as at least being from the middle class
That
and
makes
up.
sense.
I don't think
Yeah.
I don't see, like someone's like, oh, that's a very poor Ravenclaw. That's not the image that you have at all.
That's true.
Necessarily associate it with money, but maybe. I don't know.
Everything is a
Well,
class
that's- I mean,
structure.
yeah, and also for you, it's like, I mean, people can't see it right now.
You're a
but
Ravenclaw. You don't think about
Yeah,
money.
you're literally in a gold outfit right now. Like, I think if we added up what you're wearing right now, it'd be like $2,500.
I just put this on this morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Also-
so, wait, can we deal with the Count for 2 seconds?
Yeah.
Sure.
So, do we think the Count has OCD? Do you think it's like a situation like stuff is around him and like he is like, what's that movie, A Beautiful Mind? And like he can't help but count it. Like he wants to eat, he wants to do other things, but he just has to count.
I mean, in a very depressing world, yes, but
Right.
I think it's more he's impassioned
About
by
counting.
counting.
That makes sense.
I think at least from a less upsetting angle.
I've just never thought of it that way, and I don't even think it's upsetting. I just want to hug him now because he's he's a very utilitarian Muppet.
Right.
Very
Oh, absolutely.
functional.
Yeah.
I mean, I think unless he's covering it up,
Yeah.
anytime that he finishes counting
He's
a thing,
happy.
there's some mirth that follows it.
Also, can we talk about how he's definitely a vampire? We've never seen him feed on anybody.
Well, I think they shoot that part, but it's really gruesome for kids, so they cut
Right.
it out every time. Right? I think that's super uncomfortable.
Also, just now trying to Rolodex through
What other Muppets
other
are there?
Ravenclaws. I mean, while he does have the crossover, Kermit falls under that.
I can't talk Kermit. His crossover is negligible.
Okay.
Dude, I would probably put Hoots the Owl.
Now you're just making stuff up.
Dude, I googled Sesame Street and there's an owl who's playing a saxophone.
Yes.
And you're saying he's a Ravenclaw?
Oh,
No, he's a Hufflepuff.
Oh, you're just saying he's cool.
No,
yeah, I was just like, can we talk about Hoots the Owl
Yeah,
real
because
quick?
I'm down with that.
Hoots is a Hufflepuff because, at least if you're going off of the idea that most Hufflepuffs are kind of involved in the arts.
You know what the issue, the biggest issue is, and this is actually the saddest part for him. Well, actually, one thing, there's not a ton of Sesame Street Muppets. 2, I mean, like,
There's a fair amount. Like,
I'm counting the major characters. And
well,
it's
like there's Rosita, there are the Grouches, there are the Bear family.
Yeah.
There's Bert and Ernie.
Oh,
There's is it Slimy the worm? I mean,
Stinky.
he doesn't really have a.
there's Prairie Dawn. Do you guys remember Prairie Dawn?
Oh my gosh. She's like one of the originals.
Yeah, she
Who's
plays
she?
the piano. She's like a pageantry Muppet. She looks,
What's she look like? Let me see.
dude, she looks like everyone's mom.
Aw, she
She's
has like
like-
a wig. She's with Margaret Cho.
She's
Yeah.
kind
wonderful.
of she kind of talks like this. Like she's got that
I see.
higher.
I don't
like,
remember her, but you guys
she,
have. You guys
she
grew
would
up with different
probably be a
Muppets.
Gryffindor. She seems like nice enough lady.
All right, could we deal with the real issue right now? And
Sure.
This is actually this is the biggest one by far. Where does Grover land?
I was actually
Sorry, I
Yeah.
know I'm stealing your thunder, but like I get it. All this other stuff is cute. We can talk about obscure Muppets, but Grover's the main one.
I mean, Grover has issues, to say the very
He
least.
does, yeah.
Which actually could categorize him in like any of the houses.
Yeah, I think maybe any house like that's sort of how they're built. Is like they all have issues, but
He's interesting in that he's got a big heart.
the biggest.
He becomes exasperated very easily.
Yeah, makes sense.
Not for lack of trying though.
Yeah.
Like he's the near far Muppet. He's also Super Grover.
Yeah,
Which-
yeah.
Is it worth distinguishing Super
characters.
Grover from Grover?
I think it's all the same. I think because Super Grover still has that attribute. It's like it's Grover in a different thing.
Right, but there is like a slight incompetence I feel that comes with Super Grover. Like I feel like Grover is a little bit more capable than Super Grover is.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know, but like thinking back, whenever they would do Grover stuff, it would be like him trying to do the ABCs with that kid and not being able to. He would lose his patience a lot.
Sure.
He would
but
like Grover loses his shit easily. Like the monster at the end of this book,
Yeah.
he has a nervous breakdown. Like he has an existential crisis.
Are you vying to get him in Slytherin?
Here's the thing. I'm actually depressed. Like I would want him, but he's not. There's no version of Grover. Grover he's a Gryffindor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like Grover. Like I think you can argue a bunch of other stuff and like
Anybody who wears a cape is probably a Gryffindor.
And at the end of the day, like the fact he always tries,
Yeah.
makes him a Gryffindor. Like I think So who? Because it's interesting as you said it. Because I've just looked at the Muppets. There's not a ton of them. I don't think there's a ton of Gryffindors.
I mean, like
I bet most of the humans.
Most of the humans
Mr.
probably
Hoover.
fall in Hooper.
No. He's Mr. Hoover from here on out.
What? Maria?
Gordon.
The humans are just stand-ins for like, I'm here to say some stuff and be like, go
Their
get 'em.
exposition.
Their exposition on a good way, and they just definitely are.
You say that in a way that you're kind of like salty about it, that you wish that the humans were allowed to.
No,
have
it's
better
just
characters.
it's one of those situations where it's like they're just kind of stand-ins.
Yeah.
Like, it's like at the end of the day, you're like they're always sort of like, I love this, and I think their job is to be like, you're a real puppet, and they do a great job at that. I think there's only 2 Gryffindors in the whole thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's Grover.
Yeah.
And Big Bird.
Yeah.
You know, Big Bird, but actually, based on your argument for Elmo, let's say Elmo is closer to Harry Potter. If we take 2 seconds with that, that makes Big Bird Voldemort, which actually does work in your narrative perfectly. Because he had the show first. Then it was a situation he scared kids big time. Then it got weird. He hangs out, like he talks to imaginary friends, all that other stuff. That's making the snakes talk. And then he gets sort of pushed to the side by this cute little, like, what? How do you say the word? Enjuin? You know what I'm talking about? Like a 1940s sort of like cute, like Shirley Temple.
Ingenue.
Thank you. So Elmo's an ingenue, and he comes in, and he steals everything and takes everything over, and everyone just says, Harry Potter, sir, Harry Potter. It's like Elmo, Elmo, Elmo. And he but the only difference is Elmo loves the fame. He's disgusted by it. He just give me more, give me more. But Big Bird could be Voldemort, but that's okay. But I think Big Bird, taking a step back, because your narrative does work really well, I think the only 2 Gryffindor you would have is Big Bird maybe, and then Grover for sure.
I think so, and I think that rounds out our discussion pretty nicely. So thank you so much for joining us on this episode of The Sorting Hat. Ryan, where can we find more from you?
At my house with my kid.
Great,
Yeah,
okay.
thank you.
So just start cyber stalking him, guys.
Find where I live.
Yeah. So thank you so much. You can follow me at Belated Media. You can follow Katie at That Katie Reed on Twitter.
Or Venmo.
Jesus.
You can't.
That sounds like I was asking them for money.
Yeah, so send money to That Katie Reed on Venmo.
Which is the hottest new social media site for the kids.
Right, and specify the Sorting Hat podcast as your reason for sending her money.
The IRS is gonna come after me.
All right, guys, thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.